Have you ever found yourself locked in a mental tug-of-war, desperately trying to silence your worries or suppress your emotions? It's a universal struggle, one that often leaves us feeling exhausted and defeated. Psychological research reveals a surprising truth: the harder we fight our thoughts and feelings, the more they cling to us. But what if the key to mental peace isn't in the battle, but in the way we approach the battlefield? Imagine a life where you no longer wrestle with your mind but instead move with it, like a dancer in perfect sync with their partner. This is the promise of mental flexibility, a skill that can transform how you handle life's toughest moments. Here's a truth that might sting: trying to control your thoughts is like trying to hold water in your fists. The tighter you grip, the more it slips away. Studies show that resisting negative emotions or intrusive thoughts only amplifies them, creating a cycle of frustration and helplessness. But there's hope. By embracing a new mindset, one rooted in acceptance and adaptability, you can break free from this cycle. Picture yourself not as a warrior fighting an endless battle, but as a navigator skillfully steering through the storms of your mind. This shift isn't just liberating, it's life-changing. As Carl Jung once said, "What you resist, persists." These words capture the essence of why our efforts to suppress thoughts and emotions often fail. The mind, much like a rebellious child, thrives on attention, positive or negative. But what if you could change the rules of the game? Instead of resisting, you could learn to observe, accept, and even embrace your inner experiences. This isn't about giving up, it's about gaining a new perspective. By doing so, you unlock the door to mental resilience and emotional freedom. Imagine you're standing in the middle of a storm. The wind howls, the rain pelts down, and you're desperately trying to hold up an umbrella. But no matter how hard you try, the umbrella keeps flipping inside out, leaving you drenched and defeated. This is what it's like to fight your thoughts and emotions. You expend all your energy, yet the storm rages on. Now, picture this: instead of fighting the storm, you step back, find shelter, and simply watch it pass. This shift in approach, from resistance to acceptance, is the foundation of mental flexibility. It's not about avoiding the storm, it's about learning to weather it with grace. What if I told you that the key to overcoming mental struggles lies not in changing your thoughts, but in changing your relationship with them? This might sound counterintuitive, but it's a principle backed by science. By developing 6 key mental shifts, you can learn to navigate your inner world with greater ease and clarity. These shifts aren't about erasing pain or discomfort, they're about creating space for them, allowing you to respond to life's challenges with intention and purpose. Think of it as upgrading your mental toolkit, equipping yourself with strategies that actually work. In the pages ahead, you'll discover practical techniques to untangle yourself from mental traps, face painful emotions with courage, and take meaningful action, even when the odds seem stacked against you. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving. As Viktor Frankl famously said, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." By embracing these mental shifts, you'll not only transform how you handle adversity but also uncover a deeper sense of purpose and fulfillment. The journey begins with a single step: the decision to dance with your thoughts, rather than wrestle them. Are you ready to take that step? About the author. Stephen C. Hayes, Ph.D., is a renowned foundation professor of psychology at the University of Nevada, Reno, and the pioneering creator of acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, a highly researched and evidence-based approach to psychotherapy. With an impressive academic career, he has authored more than 600 scientific publications and 46 books, solidifying his influence in the field. His groundbreaking contributions have been cited over 100,000 times in scientific literature, underscoring his significant impact on psychology and mental health. Beyond his academic achievements, Hayes is celebrated for his innovative work in developing ACT, which has transformed how individuals approach emotional and psychological challenges. His dedication to advancing the understanding of human behavior and mental well-being has made him a leading figure in psychology, inspiring both professionals and individuals seeking meaningful change. Through his extensive research and writings, Hayes continues to shape the future of therapy and personal growth. Chapter 1: How to Break Free from Negative Thoughts, A Simple Mindset Shift. Maya stood in front of her mirror, heart pounding, mind racing. The big presentation was just days away, and no matter how many times she told herself to stop worrying, the fear only grew stronger. She clenched her fists and tried harder to push the anxiety away, but it felt like pouring fuel on a fire. Instead of calming down, she found herself spiraling deeper into panic. Sound familiar? Our minds are wired to protect us, constantly scanning for danger, even when none exists. When we treat our worries like enemies to be eliminated, we actually make them more powerful. Imagine trying not to think about a pink elephant. The harder you resist, the more it takes over your mind. This is the trap Maya fell into, and it's the same one many of us experience when we struggle with anxious thoughts. Jamal knew this battle all too well. He often felt like he wasn't good enough, and no matter how much he tried to silence those thoughts, his mind always found new evidence to reinforce them. It was like sinking into quicksand. The harder he fought, the deeper he got stuck. This endless tug-of-war with negative thoughts only drained his energy and left him feeling even more defeated. But what if there was another way? Instead of fighting their thoughts, Maya and Jamal learned to step back and see them for what they were, just thoughts, not absolute truths. Aisha, for instance, used a simple trick. Whenever she caught herself thinking, "I can't handle this," she rephrased it as, "I'm having the thought that I can't handle this." This small shift gave her distance from her worries, making them feel less overwhelming. You can practice this too. Next time anxious thoughts take over, imagine them as clouds drifting across the sky. You don't have to chase them away, just watch them pass. Or picture them as train cars moving along the tracks. You can observe them without hopping on board. This mental shift allows you to acknowledge your thoughts without letting them control you. Kenzo, who once struggled with social anxiety, now greets his fears like an old friend. Instead of pushing them away, he says, "Hello again, anxiety," and moves forward anyway. This simple act of acknowledgement robs negative thoughts of their power far more effectively than any attempt to fight them. After all, the mind is like an overprotective friend. It means well, but it doesn't always give the best advice. The key is learning to listen without always obeying. Try it for yourself. Notice when you're caught in a mental battle and experiment with stepping back. In the next section, you'll discover how to maintain inner stability even when your thoughts and emotions feel like a storm. But for now, simply practice watching your thoughts instead of wrestling with them. You might be surprised at how much lighter your mind feels. Chapter 2: How to Stay Calm in Life's Storms, The Power of Mindful Awareness. Imagine your mind as the weather, constantly shifting between sunshine, storms, and cloudy skies. Some days bring clarity, while others feel turbulent and overwhelming. But no matter what the weather looks like, the sky remains vast and unshaken. You are the sky, capable of holding every experience without being defined by them. This isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's a powerful way to navigate life's challenges. 𝗪𝗏𝗍 learned this lesson the hard way. After receiving harsh feedback at work, his thoughts turned stormy. Self-doubt crashed in like thunder, and waves of criticism filled his mind. But instead of getting lost in the storm, he took a step back. He reminded himself that just as the sky isn't harmed by passing weather, his true self wasn't damaged by temporary disappointment. With this shift in perspective, he was able to process the feedback without letting it define him. Developing this ability is like unlocking a mental superpower. Think about watching a movie. You get immersed in the story, yet you're also aware that you're sitting in a theater, watching it unfold. The same principle applies to your thoughts and emotions. You can experience them without being consumed by them. You are both the observer and the experiencer. Sophia puts this into practice whenever anxiety strikes. Instead of saying, "I'm anxious," she gently rephrases it as, "I'm experiencing anxiety right now." This small but profound shift helps her create space between herself and her emotions. She is not the storm, she is the sky watching it pass. With this awareness, she's able to navigate stress without losing herself in it. You can try this too. Close your eyes and notice the thoughts and sensations moving through you. Now, ask yourself, who is noticing these thoughts? That quiet awareness, the observer within you, remains steady, no matter what thoughts or feelings come and go. Lynn uses this skill during tense family conversations. When emotions flare up, she mentally steps back and notices the entire scene, her racing thoughts, her tight chest, and the urge to argue. From this place of awareness, she responds with intention instead of reacting impulsively. The key takeaway? You are not your thoughts, emotions, or circumstances. Like Yara, who struggles with self-doubt, you can remind yourself that these feelings are just passing clouds. They come and go, but they do not define you. Throughout your day, practice shifting perspectives. Whenever you feel caught in emotional turbulence, gently remind yourself to return to the sky, to that steady, observing presence within. In the next section, you'll discover how this awareness can help you transform your relationship with pain and difficulty. Chapter 3: How to Stop Fighting Your Emotions and Find Meaning in Pain. Most of us are taught from an early age that pain is the enemy. We spend years trying to outrun discomfort, avoiding difficult memories, numbing challenging emotions, or distracting ourselves from grief. But what if pain isn't something to fear? What if, instead, it's a messenger carrying valuable insights about what truly matters to us? 𝗓𝗶𝗯𝗲 learned this firsthand when she lost a close friendship. Overwhelmed by grief, she instinctively threw herself into distractions, trying to bury the pain. But when she finally allowed herself to sit with her sadness, she realized something profound. Her deep sorrow was proof of how much she valued connection. Her pain wasn't just suffering, it was a reflection of love. This doesn't mean we should seek out pain or wallow in it. Instead, acceptance is about dropping the struggle. When Zhen feels anxious about chasing his dreams, he no longer sees it as a sign of failure. Instead, he acknowledges, "Of course, I'm anxious, this dream matters to me." By reframing his discomfort, he shifts from resisting his fear to understanding it. Think of emotional pain like a heavy weight. If you hold it at arm's length, trying to keep it away, you'll quickly exhaust yourself. But if you bring it closer, accepting its presence, the burden often feels lighter. The energy we spend avoiding pain can be more draining than the pain itself. You can try this yourself. The next time an uncomfortable emotion arises, turn toward it with curiosity. Where do you feel it in your body? A tight chest, a sinking stomach? Instead of pushing it away, observe how it moves or changes. You may notice that by making space for it, the intensity lessens. Kayla, who once avoided social situations due to anxiety, now pays mindful attention to her body's reactions. By accepting the butterflies in her stomach rather than fighting them, she finds they lose their grip. Acceptance isn't the same as resignation. When Marcus faces discrimination, he doesn't accept injustice, but he does accept his anger and pain as valid emotions that can guide his actions. Emotional pain, like a tough teacher, often delivers hard lessons. Fighting the lesson only prolongs the struggle, but listening to it can lead to growth. In the next section, you'll discover how this mindset shift can help you turn pain into meaningful action, using life's challenges to clarify what truly matters. Chapter 4: How to discover your core values and live with purpose. Think of your values as an inner compass, always guiding you toward what truly matters. Unlike goals, which can be checked off and completed, values provide a lifelong direction, like the North Star, always there to help you navigate life's choices. They don't dictate a final destination but offer a steady path to follow, no matter where you are. Elena felt stuck in her career, unsure of her next move. Instead of setting another list of goals, she asked herself a deeper question: when I'm at my best, what kind of person do I want to be? Her answer wasn't tied to job titles or promotions, it was about bringing creativity and helpfulness into whatever she did. That shift in perspective reignited her passion and gave her work a renewed sense of meaning. Your values aren't about what you should prioritize, they're about what naturally energizes and excites you. Hassan realized this when he stopped chasing society's definition of success and asked himself what truly mattered. He discovered that continuous learning brought him joy, so instead of fixating on status, he started embracing growth in small, everyday moments. This shift made his daily life more fulfilling. Try this simple yet powerful exercise. Imagine your 90th birthday celebration. What would you want people to say about how you lived, not just what you achieved, but the qualities you embodied? Did you inspire others? Show kindness? Stand up for your beliefs? These reflections point to your core values, the guiding principles that shape your life. For Amara, values act as a flashlight in dark times. When she faces a tough decision, she asks herself, which choice moves me closer to the person I want to be? The answer doesn't always make decisions easier, but it makes them clearer. And values aren't rigid rules, they're chosen directions that fuel rather than restrict you. When Raj embraced his deep need for meaningful connections, even small conversations became fulfilling rather than just social obligations. Your values are revealed in the moments that make you feel most alive, whether that's creating, helping others, exploring new ideas, or standing up for justice. Priya experienced this when she chose to prioritize family over career advancement. Some questioned her decision, but she remained at peace, knowing she was living in alignment with what mattered most to her. That's the power of values, they allow you to live authentically, regardless of external expectations. Up next, you'll discover how to turn these values into real, committed action, even when doubts and obstacles stand in your way. Chapter 5: How to take action on your values and create real change. Understanding your mind and values is powerful, but true transformation happens through action. Imagine learning to dance. You can memorize every step, but unless you step onto the dance floor, you won't truly experience it. The same applies to living in alignment with your values. When Flora decided to become a community organizer, doubt flooded her mind. She wondered if she was good enough, if her voice mattered. But instead of waiting for confidence, she took small steps aligned with her values. Attending her first meeting, speaking up for others, each action built momentum, strengthening her commitment and belief in herself. Committed action isn't about forcing yourself forward, it's about progressing toward what matters while carrying your fears and uncertainties with you. Kenji practices this at work. When nerves creep in before presenting ideas, he reminds himself that sharing knowledge matters more than delivering a flawless speech. This shift helps him take action despite self-doubt. You can put this into practice with a simple exercise. Choose one small action tomorrow that aligns with your values. Maybe it's listening fully to a loved one, taking the first step on a passion project, or speaking up in a meeting. When discomfort or hesitation arises, acknowledge it, make space for it, and move forward anyway. Mental flexibility is key when challenges arise. When Fatima's art project didn't go as planned, she noticed her perfectionist thoughts without getting trapped in them. Rather than giving up, she adjusted her approach while staying true to her value of creative expression. By accepting imperfection, she kept moving forward. Progress isn't always linear. Some days, you'll move confidently towards your goals, other days, you'll stumble. What matters is your willingness to keep going. Nina, when overwhelmed by work, pauses to ask herself, what small action aligns with my values right now? Sometimes it's taking a deep breath to stay present, other times, it's reaching out to support a colleague. To build your personal flexibility plan, ask yourself, what truly matters to me? What small steps can I take today? What thoughts or emotions might show up? How can I carry them while staying in motion? Diego integrates these questions into daily life by setting reminders on his phone. Notice your thoughts. Make space for emotions. Take one step toward what matters. These prompts keep him grounded in action. The goal isn't to perfect your life, it's to live it more fully. Each time you catch yourself in an old pattern, each time you make room for difficult emotions, and each time you take action despite fear, you're strengthening your ability to live with purpose. Keep stepping forward, even when the rhythm feels uncertain. In summary, imagine being caught in quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. This is how many of us deal with difficult thoughts and emotions. We fight against them, try to push them away, or pretend they don't exist. But what if the real way to freedom isn't through resistance, but through acceptance? This book introduces a radical yet powerful approach to dealing with mental struggles. Instead of treating anxiety, doubt, or negative thoughts as enemies to be defeated, it teaches you how to make peace with them. By shifting the way you relate to your thoughts, you can regain control of your life and move toward what truly matters. One of the key insights is understanding that your mind is like an overprotective friend. It constantly warns you about dangers, even when there's no real threat. The harder you fight against intrusive thoughts, the stronger they become. Instead of battling your mind, you can learn to observe your thoughts without getting caught in them, just like watching clouds drift across the sky. The book also explores the power of perspective. Think of yourself as the sky, vast and unchanging, while your emotions are like passing weather, sometimes stormy, sometimes clear, but never permanent. This shift in perspective helps you detach from temporary struggles and see the bigger picture, making it easier to navigate challenges without feeling overwhelmed. Another powerful lesson is learning to embrace discomfort. Most people try to avoid pain at all costs, but discomfort often signals what truly matters to us. Grief, for example, isn't just suffering, it's a sign of deep love and connection. Anxiety about a big dream isn't just fear, it's proof that something is meaningful to you. Instead of running from these emotions, the book teaches you how to lean into them with curiosity and acceptance. At the heart of the book is the idea of values, your inner compass that guides you toward a meaningful life. Unlike goals that can be completed, values are lifelong directions that shape how you live. Whether it's creativity, kindness, or growth, clarifying your values helps you make choices that align with the person you want to be. But knowledge alone isn't enough. True change happens through action. The book encourages you to take small, meaningful steps aligned with your values, even when doubts arise. Progress isn't about eliminating fear, it's about moving forward despite it. By taking committed action, you build resilience and create a life that reflects your deepest priorities. So, what does this mean for you? Imagine looking back on your life and knowing you truly lived, not just reacted to fear, but acted from purpose. The real question is, what small step can you take today to move toward the life you want? The journey isn't about perfection, It's about choosing, again and again, to live with intention. Your mind will always have something to say, but you get to decide which thoughts deserve your attention and which ones you simply let pass by.